Welcome to Vet Fraternity. In this topic, we are going to talk about keratoconjunctivitis sicca, which is commonly called as the dry eye. Before going into the detail of KCS, first we need to understand the concept of a tear film. What the tear film is. Basically, tear film is a liquid, you can say, or a secretion that is spread on the eye to cause the lubrication of the eye, of the cornea. The tear film has three layers. A lipid layer is the outermost layer, then we have the aqueous layer, which is middle layer, and then we have the mucin, which is the innermost layer of the tear film. Talking about lipid layer, it is produced by meibomian glands. I have already told you that the meibomian glands are present in the eyelids. So these glands produce the lipid, and it prevents tear film evaporation. So it's its function. Then we have is aqueous or middle layer, which is produced by two glands, lacrimal gland and the gland of third eyelid. This is the gland of third eyelid, which contributes to 50 to 70% of production. Then this is gland of third eyelid, which contributes to 30 to 50% of aqueous layer production. Their function is that it improves or increases the corneal lubrication and it provides corneal nutrition. You should also remember that KCS is majorly a problem of these glands. Then we have mucin. Mucin is the innermost layer and it is secreted by the goblet cells. It smooths out imperfections on the corneal surface and it stabilizes the tear film. Next comes the definition of a KCS. So, what is KCS? KCS is a common inflammatory condition of cornea and conjunctiva secondary to a deficiency in aqueous portion of the tear film. So, here you should focus on one thing. The first thing is that it is a inflammatory condition, and it inflammatory condition of cornea and conjunctiva, and it happens due to deficiency in the aqueous portion of the tear film. So, if the tear production is less, inadequate corneal lubrication will happen and corneal and conjunctival inflammation will happen. And signalement, it is very important regarding paper point of view for every disease. It should be on your fingerprints. So it is common in dogs and it is uncommon in cats. No age is mentioned, so it can happen in any age. You can see this picture. This is very typical of KCS. When I have told you that there are three layers of tear film. When the middle layer is not being produced, the upper layer and lower layer and a small production of like aqueous layer, the color of the tear will convert into like mucoid or yellowish color. So you can see whole eye is covered by that mucoid or mucopurulent type of a discharge. And you can also see this discharge starts to form crusting on the eyelids. So the clinical signs, mucoid to mucopurulent discharge, showed you the previous image. You can see even in this image, or like in this image you can see mucoid mucopurulent discharge. Then eye will be dry, it will lack luster corneal surface, like the shininess of the eye, it will be lost. Then mucoid crusting of the eyelids, I have shown you the previous image that this discharge will start to dry on the eyelids and the mucoid crusting will happen. Then we have conjunctival hyperemia. You can see in this image the conjunctival hyperemia. Then corneal vascularization if the case is chronic, and corneal pigmentation if the case is chronic. Corneal ulceration will happen, of course, just like our skin that gets dry and starts to like have cracks. Similarly, when the eye is the cornea is dry, getting dry, the ulceration chances are very high. Then we have blepharospasm. So these are the clinical signs that you are going to see. Along with that, you can see these two images from Merck manual. Moderate diffuse conjunctival hyperemia, mild mucoid ocular discharge, typical of early KCS. So this is an image of an early KCS. If you see this image, conjunctival mucopurulent exudates, okay, that are being seen, dry and lusterless cornea, and keratoconjunctivitis, all characteristics of subacute KCS. So this is also a typical image of KCS. Then we have diagnosis. For diagnosis, we perform a Schirmer tear test, which is the test of choice for diagnosing a quantitative tear deficiency. What happens that in this test, we have a strip that has its marking like 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Like it has its marking. We place it in the eye and we see the wetting of this strip. Like for 1 minute, we are going to place this strip in the eye of a dog, and because of the tear it will start to wet. If it is more than 15 of wetting per minute in a dog, that is normal for dogs, and it is a variable in cats. But if you see a value of 11 to 14 per minute wetting, it is early or subclinical KCS, so it's your red flag. Then if it's 6 to 10 of per minute, it's mild to moderate KCS, and if it's less than 5 of per minute, it is severe KCS. You should remember these values. Although in exam they do give like normal reference values, but still you should keep in mind the levels for early, mild to more severe like KCS. Then comes the causes. Causes are very important. Number first is immune mediated, then we have drug induced, congenital surgery induced, neurogenic, and there are other rare causes: trauma or supraorbital region, radiation, CDV, leishmania, vitamin A deficiency. These all are the causes for KCS, and we are going to see a little bit detail of these causes in the next slides. Okay, first one is immune mediated. You should remember it is most common cause of the KCS. That's the very important thing about this. Breed predisposer: many English Bulldog, Cocker Spaniels, West Highland, Wheaten Terriers, Pugs, Yorkshire Terriers, Pekingese, Shih Tzus. So these are the breeds predisposed. Then we have the drug induced. For drug induced, first one is the sulfur drug. You should remember whenever you are going to use whatever sulfur drug, either it's trimethoprim sulfa, sulfasalazine, 60% of dogs are going to be affected, and it's a huge range. Huge percentage. The second thing is etodolac. It less than 1% of dogs are affected, but the dry eye will be severe. So you can see that with etodolac, the percentage of animals being affected is less, but the severity is very high. Then we have general anesthesia, in which there is decreased tear production at least 24 to 48 hours after anesthesia and even within the anesthesia. And that's why when we are performing a surgery or in the post-op, we recommend to use artificial tears to prevent KCS. Also, the atropine causes decreased tear production for 5 hours after administration. Then we have congenital KCS. Of course, any dog with lacrimal acinar hyperplasia is going to have like congenital KCS, and it results in severe dryness. It is also a cause of severe dryness. Breeds predisposed are Yorkshire Terriers, Chinese Crested, or Chihuahua. Next, we have surgery induced. Okay, we have talked about this thing when we studied the topic of cherry eye, that in cherry eye, the third eyelid gland gets prolapsed or protrude out. If we are going to excise that gland either partially or completely, 100% the animal is going to go in KCS. But that's why the recommended surgery for cherry eye was that you have to place place the third eyelid gland back. You have to replace it. You have to anchor it in place. You are not going to remove it, but replace it. But even after that, there are chances that 30 to 50% of like animals are going to go in KCS in the following years. That's why after the surgery of the cherry eye, we keep monitoring that dog for years for the KCS. And this is important because third eyelid gland contributes 30 to 50% of aqueous tear film production. Then we have a case of neurogenic cases. That's interesting because first, why it happens? Because of lack of parasympathetic innervation to the lacrimal glands. Okay, that's understood. The innervation or the impulses are not going to the lacrimal glands. They are not going to secrete the secretions. But it is usually unilateral. And not only one eye, but also the ipsilateral nose is also going to be dry. So you can see this eye and this nose, one side of a nose and one side of eye are being affected. And in such animal you might be seeing any other neurological conditions also. So if in an exam paper like question comes like an eye and is dry, but the nose is also, or if they give you an image, so you should remember that this is going to be a neurogenic KCS. Then comes the treatment. Treatment is very important for this disease. First thing is you have to identify the cause, if it's neurogenic, immune mediated, like surgical, based on history of the dog. So you have to identify the cause. Once identified, you should remember about immune mediated, that it's a chronic disorder and it will going to be needed lifelong treatment. Then you have other thing that you have to stimulate the tearing. For tear stimulation, we have immunomodulating or electrostimulant agents. We have two agents. Number one is cyclosporine and number two is tacrolimus. These, for paper point of view, you should remember this is not the numbering that I have used to tell you that this is one drug is this, other drug is this. No, this is based on preferences. Number one preference for KCS is always going to be cyclosporine, and number second preference is going to be tacrolimus. You should remember that if they give you an question and if they place these both in the separate options, you might get confused. Okay, these both are the treatment options for like KCS, which one I'm going to pick? You are always going to pick cyclosporine first and tacrolimus on the second. But there is more to that. Because for cyclosporine, first thing we have like 0.2% ointments or 0.5 or 2% solutions available. And they are given every 8 to 24 hours. For initially, we start with 0.2% ointment. If no response, we go for 2% solution. So our first choice is always going to be cyclosporine, but a low concentration. Then we will go for high concentration of cyclosporine, and it is given every 8 to 24 on. And then we have the tacrolimus, which is 0.02% solution to 0.03% ointment solutions given every 12 hours, like twice a day. And tacrolimus is used if no response to cyclosporine after 3 to 6 weeks of treatment. So they might give you a situational scenario in the exam, or they may give you a very simple statement. If it's a simple statement that you have an animal of KCS, what is the drug of choice? And if they place cyclosporine or tacrolimus both in the options, definitely you're going to pick cyclosporine. But if they give you a scenario where they have told you that there is a dog that is having KCS and you have spent like 5 weeks or like 6 weeks of treatment with cyclosporine 0.2%, and then you shift it for 2% solution, but still like the results are not like getting better, there are no positive results, then what should you proceed with? In options, they might give you the situation like continue cyclosporine for another 3 weeks, use tacrolimus, or like something like that. So in that scenario, you are going to pick tacrolimus in the options. So you should know these things, the preferences, and even the frequency is important. Every like thrice or 4 times a day, and it's twice a day given. Then you can increase lubrication. For that, artificial tear gels are available. For example, hyaluronic acid, like artificial tear gels, just artificial tears, you can simply say, are being used. Then you have neurogenic KCS. For neurogenic KCS, you have to replace the absent neurotransmitter, that is acetylcholine, because we have talked about in the previous slide that the parasympathetic innervation is now being not being present to the glands. So you have to replace that absent neurotransmitters, and for that you can use pilocarpine eye drop 1%, or you can give it like orally. It's like added into the food also. That's also the way of like route of administration. They added in the food. And but you should remember while administrating pilocarpine that there is a very fine line between therapeutic and toxic effects. because you need the therapeutic effects, not the toxic effects. We know that for the cholinergics, the side effects are like, for that we use a mnemonic called as dumbbells. What does it means? Defecation, urination, meiosis, bradycardia, erection, lacrimation, sweating, and salivation. So you have to avoid these signs. You just need therapeutic effects. You do need not to overdose it and have the side effects. Next we have is you can use topical antibiotics for secondary bacterial infection or if corneal ulceration. So if there was an dry eye and you see the ulcers have started to form, you can use like topical antibiotics also. But if there is no response to topical therapy, like you have used the cyclosporines, the tacrolimus, or if it's neurogenic, the pilocarpine or whatsoever, and you are getting no response to the topical therapy, then what you are going to have the options is, number one is chronic lubricating therapy, that then it's your job as an owner that you have to instill drops for like forever, like every day, every hour, like that you have to be instilling a, and that's a laborious job. Honestly, that's a laborious job, but still that is one of the options. The other option is surgery, parotid duct transposition. Basically what happens that the parotid duct that starts from parotid gland, and it is positioned into the mouth because the saliva is going to be secreted in the mouth. So what you do, you reposition that duct towards the eye so that the dog's saliva is being makes its way to the eye, and the saliva basically keeps the eye prevents the eye from getting dry. So that is our final you can say like our last resort to as a treatment for the KCS. Last, we have the prognosis for immune mediated. Also, although it's like most common cause, but it has good prognosis. 80% of dogs respond to topical therapy. For drug induced, it's fair depending upon drug and length of therapy. For example, like TA, sulfur drugs in etodolac. We have talked about that etodolac causes severe KCS, but TMS or sulfasalazine, they do cause in lot of animals, but that's not that much severe. So it's drug induced and it depends upon the drug's length of the therapy of the that drug you have used and how much damage has been done. Then we have the congenital. For that, the response is poor. It requires chronic lubricating therapy or surgery. Because we have already talked about the congenital causes most severe xerosis, most severe drying of the eye, and there is like as such no uh, medical treatment. You just need to either lubricate it chronically or just perform the surgery. Then we have surgery induced. The prognosis is fair. It depends upon breed, overall predisposition, and degree of aqueous deficiency. Then we have neurogenic. It has fair prognosis, responds well if dog tolerate appropriate pilocarpine dose. So if the dose is well enough that it's not causing any side effects and the dog is also giving positive responses, so it depends upon that. Otherwise, it's fair. You know, the prognosis for the paper point of view is very important. They do give you a scenario of a KCS of any of these, like congenital or drug induced. For congenital, of course, they are going to tell you that this issue is say since birth, and the animal that will be coming to your clinic is going to be of young age. If it's immune mediated or if it's it is going to have a different history. If it's a drug induced, they might tell you that my animal was having some issues and another vet treated him with some sulfur drug they mentioned. So you should remember that. So it is based on all those scenarios. They are going to ask you prognosis. Prognosis is very important from paper point of view. You should remember this. And last but not the least, for breeds predisposed to any KCS, avoid breeding affected or closely related dogs. That's also very important thing, because in questions they might give you a scenario of a KCS, and they say that a dog came with this situation and it was KCS and you treated him, but then after treatment, what advice you are going to give to the owner. So the advice you have to give to the owner for prevention of further having any other dog having this issue is that do not breed your dog. So do not get a progeny from such dogs. So that was it. That was all about KCS. I hope you enjoyed the lecture and understood what points are important regarding paper point of view. Thank you so much. Best of luck for your preparation.